Hello again, guys. It's Carly from the Poetry of Night, and I have a different kind of video for you today, sort of. So I'm going to be talking about my Etsy sales, but I figured I would do a little bit of a roundup as I'm getting towards my 1-year mark on Etsy, which will be kind of mid to late March, of some of the, I guess, like the best flips that I've had on Etsy. So these are all items that I have bought secondhand, places like rummage sales, yard sales, garage sales, sometimes thrift stores, and then have obviously gone on to flip and sell on Etsy. And these are the ones where I feel like they've either had a really, really good kind of profit margin there, depending on what I paid for them, or they're a consistent seller for me, and I figured I would want to share that with you guys as well, as something to kind of be on the lookout for. So what I'll do is I'll show you each item. I'll let you know what I paid for it originally. I'll try and remember where I got it from. Some of them have been quite a while ago, and then I'll let you know obviously what they sold for. So the very first thing I have for you today, this actually sold this week and will be coming up in my sales video. This little brooch, it actually turned out to be 10 karat gold when I brought it home and tested it a lot just to make sure. I paid 50 cents for this at an estate sale, and it sold for $39.95. So always test that jewelry, and if you're not sure how to, a video I would really recommend, Texas Gal Treasures, Margaret. She has an amazing video about sort of the ins and outs of testing jewelry, and she does that habitually now. So if you haven't checked out her channel yet, go check that out and look at those videos, and she will give you a great idea of exactly how to start picking up jewelry and sort of double checking it and seeing if it's anything particularly special. I wanted to share this with you, and I have a few different pieces of fabric that I've sold on both Etsy and eBay. I'm just doing Etsy today, but the reason why I popped it up here is this is the kind of thing I pick up frequently. I paid 50 cents for this. I usually pay around 50 cents for it, 50 cents to $1 tops. This, I think, let me see how much this was. So just over 3 yards long by what was that, 65 inches. So a few yards of it, good condition, no stains, no holes, anything like that. But like I said, paid 50 cents for it, and it sold for $39.95, which is pretty standard for what I sell those kind of big chunks of vintage fabric for. These glasses, so I sell a lot of vintage eyeglasses. I usually sell them for around $34.95 is kind of my baseline of where I go from for pricing. These I marked up because I just thought they were really cool. I don't know how else to say it. I thought they were super awesome. So I upped the price a little bit on them. So I paid about $3 for these, which is about standard $1 to $3, depending. If I can find them at yard sales, if I'm lucky enough to do that, I can get them for like 25 cents sometimes, or up to $1. But thrift stores tends to be around $3 for me. And these sold for $49.95, so not bad at all. These cowboy boots were a really good one for me. Always check cowboy boots at estate sales. These were vintage Sears, so not like a terribly good brand or whatever, but they were all leather, and as you can see here, they had an amazing design on them. They were just super crazy cool. And I paid $1.40 for these at the last day of an estate sale. Everything was just like half price, or just get it gone, and they sold in just a couple of weeks of listing them for $124.95. Another piece of fabric I just want to show you guys. Again, paid 50 cents, sold for $39.95. That $40 mark tends to be fairly standard depending on the print for me. This I picked up at a yard sale. It was like a shoe shine wooden box, and it had some of these vintage brushes and things inside. Obviously not in perfect condition. I imagine somebody bought this either as a prop or display piece, just a piece of home decor, whatever they kind of fancied with it. It was just kind of neat, really. See everything here like made in USA, and it was very brand specific. Very cool piece. I paid $3 for this at a yard sale, and it sold in less than a week for $59.95. These cufflinks I picked up at an estate sale, again the last day of the estate sale, when they just kind of wanted everything gone. So don't be afraid. Don't think that everything's always gone, because sometimes some little treasures are left behind, which is really exciting if you're as frugal as I am. So I paid 50 cents for these, and they sold for $49.95. I paid 38 cents for this briefcase. It is a vintage Samsonite. It was like a hard case. As you can see here, lots of compartments and whatnot. Lock feature, again, not perfect condition, but not bad condition at all. This was at a rummage sale, so I kind of parted everything out and worked out exactly how much it would cost. So 38 cents is what I ultimately paid for this briefcase, and it's all for $39.95. This Tommy Hilfiger bag was actually an older one. They no longer made it. It was called the Salute bag, I think, the Salute purse. Still had tags on it. I found this at a rummage sale as well. Ended up paying 90 cents for this when everything was parted out. As you can see, tags there. Really, really a beautiful piece, and it's all for $39.95. This blanket I found at a rummage sale. Again, I love my church rummage sales. The prices are just so low. You cannot beat it. I paid 62 cents for this when everything was parted out. This particular blanket sold for $99.95. There you go. Little label there, made in the USA, and some information. Obviously, being like a polyester acrylic blend also gives you an idea of it being a little bit older. This is just a sort of array, as you will, of vintage Christmas wrapping paper. So, you know, some cute designs, very sweet. You got little birds wearing Santa hats and puppies and all that kind of stuff. Very sweet, but nothing, you know, super crazy out there. And I paid about $1 for this entire lot. And I had some more. I have another lot that hasn't sold yet. And so far, this lot sold for $39.95, just vintage Christmas wrapping paper. These tiki mugs I picked up at a yard sale. Paid 50 cents a piece for these. They were not a particular brand, just made in Japan. As you can see, there is some wear. They weren't perfect again, but I decided to sell them as a set, and they sold within the month for $39.95. These, I liked these. I wish they had fit me. They were from the 80s, vintage Nikes. I gave them some love and cleaned them up a bit and whatnot. I found these at a rummage sale as well, these Nike Airs. And I think I paid about 90 cents for these as well when everything's parted out. So really super cheap. And these sold for $84.95. Keep your eyes out for the vintage sneakers, guys. Okay, so this like vintage Christmas light sign, whatever. I was at a yard sale and she had 4 of these. She had 2 Happy Holidays, 2 Merry Christmas, and she let me take all 4 of them. All 4 of them were working for $10, so $2.50 a piece. I sold 3 of them almost immediately upon listing, which was around the Christmas season, for $49.95 each. So out of, what would that be, a $7.50 investment, that's $150 back so far. We kept one because we thought we wanted it for our own use around the house and stuff. Turns out we didn't use it very much, so I'll be selling that next season. So, you know, should be another $50 there from a $2.50 investment. Okay, another blanket rug thing. This was hand woven. You can tell by just looking at these little tassels down here. They're different lengths, lots of different sizes. You can just see from the detail along the edge when you get close up with it. This I paid $1 for at a yard sale, and it's, oh sorry, $1.20 at a yard sale, I should say, and it sold for $124.95, and the person loved it. These Dansko shoes, they're the Mary Jane style, and that's a really good style to look out for. I do know that. I paid 90 cents for these at a rummage sale as well. Just happened to find them. Always check the soles of Danskos. You need to give them kind of like a little push and a pull to see if they're cracking, because they're very prone to dry rot, these shoes. So just double check that. But these sold for $44.95. And as you can see here, again, not perfect condition. There's some marks, but it doesn't always matter. Just make sure you get all your details up there visually and in the description as well, and you're pretty much good to go. I had two of these and I've only sold one so far, which I'm surprised anything sold really, but there you go, lesson learned. I'm glad that it did. So I found these at a yard sale. I paid $1 for each vest. So this is one vest here, front and back, and I have another one that's still for sale currently. It's just covered in some really cool vintage patches. So like I said, I paid $1 for this. I decided not to take the patches off, just sell the vest as a whole, and it sold for $79.95. This baby book I found at an estate sale. I ended up paying $1.60 for it. It was unused, did have some marking and stuff from age. Absolutely amazing illustrations from 1955. It was, you tell I went collage crazy with this listing because I just had to show people everything that this baby book had going on. It was beautiful. Anyway, like I said, I paid $1.60 and it sold for $74.95. This is a set, obviously, of vintage beer glasses. I paid $3 for these at a yard sale, and they sold for $44.95. Nice little sale. This sweater I was really excited to find. I actually found this at a rummage sale right at the bottom of a box. What really stood out to me, first of all, is the fact that it's a vintage Tommy Hilfiger. The tag does give that away a little bit as well with that large colour block flag, but also the fact that it's this big colour block flag right here, which is sort of really on trend, I suppose, and it screams Tommy Hilfiger, what can I say? And also that it's made in Japan, so it really wasn't a slightly older piece. But it was a knit sweater. I paid 20 cents for this at the rummage sale, and it sold for $49.95 within 1 or 2 weeks. This train case I included to show you, well, I have sold more than one is what I'm saying. I've sold about 3 of these so far. I paid 50 cents for this one and for a couple more. They've all sold so far, and they've all sold for around $34.95, which is not bad at all on a $50 investment. Again, some markings, signs of wear and age. Sometimes that's how it goes, you know, when something is a little bit older. It just has some life to it. Just make sure you include lots of photographs and lots of information description so no one's kind of blindsided. I'm going to show you this as well. So I paid $6 for this particular one at a thrift store, which is more than I usually like to, but it sold for $49.95, and I do very well with these vintage color block windbreakers. So I just wanted to kind of give you an example of something I continuously look for when I'm out and about. Same with overalls. Paid $2 for these, so for $49.95. I've done several other pairs as well, so that's something I will always look for, looking for like that made in the USA. And don't be afraid of them having signs of wear, like little holes you can see here, and there's some close-ups, some signs of dirt and stuff. Those things do not necessarily go against things like overalls. They kind of add character for some people, so don't be put off by that. Again, something that I habitually look for and have sold several times now. I paid $1 for these vintage Reebok high tops, and they sold for $59.95. This German Stein, I paid $1 for this at a yard sale. Really, really nice piece with this pewter lid, marked Germany on the bottom, and it sold for $49.95. This, like, I guess portable radio, yeah. I've got this for $5 at a estate sale. Brought it home and tested it. It worked wonderfully, and yes, it sold, I think, in just a couple of days on Etsy for $109.95, so not bad for a $5 investment. Vintage sheets. These are vintage Disneyland sheets. I think there was fitted, flat, and a pillowcase. Paid $2 for these. They sold for $44.95. Vintage suitcase. No particular brand that anybody would necessarily know that well. C&C. Couldn't find anything on it, but it was really beautiful, very nicely structured with a gorgeous lining. Paid $2 for this, and it sold for $64.95. This next item I picked up for $20 at an estate sale, I think it was. Obviously came with a case, and it also came with, there we go, like sort of all the bits and pieces, I suppose, like tape and whatnot that goes with it. Very cool kind of electric blue color. Like I said, I paid $20 and I sold it for $99.95. I actually went abroad and they paid a whole heck of a lot in shipping. But I honestly wouldn't pick these up again just because it was such hard work to get it shipped out, and for like, I mean, $100 isn't bad, but I mean, it took my husband and I like an hour to get this thing padded out. It was kind of stressful. So I'm not always on the lookout for those anymore, that's for sure. I paid $3 for these. These were actually vintage Polo Ralph Lauren eyeglasses. Very, very sort of neat, extremely retro, and I put these up. So I paid $3 and they sold for $69.95, but I put them up specifically because they sold within like a couple of hours. They were just such a quick flip, so I wanted to share those with you guys, and they were prescription. Don't let that put you off. Another vintage leather briefcase, as you can see, a little bit of wear and tear here and there. I paid $2 for this. It was not, well, let me think. I was going to say it wasn't a particularly interesting brand. I don't think it was. No, it was just, you know, you can see all of these like little scurfs, and it was not perfect, but it was beautiful, and it was definitely an older piece. I paid $2 at a yard sale and it sold for $64.95 within just a week or two. And the very last thing I had to show you this time for my kind of best Etsy flips thus far, these bed sheets. So there were several sheets here. There was a fitted sheet, a pillowcase, and a flat sheet, I believe. Very neat Little Mermaid print. So I paid $1 for these at a yard sale. Didn't think anything of it because I'd never done like the bed sheet thing before, and they sold for $44.95 in less than a week. And that is consequently something that I am always looking for now. Is the older vintage retro character bed sheets, or like obscure character bed sheets, because people do use them as bedding, but they also use them as like material for making, even on Etsy, like little girls' dresses and things like that. So they buy them for a lot of different reasons. It's always worth picking them up if they're in decent condition. So my total to date on Etsy, so I'm about a month shy at the moment of having a year on Etsy. So I'm approaching the 500 sales mark, which is very nice. My total to date is just over $10,000. So, you know, considering it took me a while to ramp up, and then you get your ebbs and flows anyway, and honestly, I do not do it every single day. If I did it religiously and I did it for like 6 to 8 hours a day like a job, I can only imagine how well it would do, prayerfully for me. But at the moment, I just don't have it in me. 2 small children, 1 on the way, and all that goes along with that. So I do it as and when I can, and I thoroughly enjoy it. Yes, and I would suggest, if you're interested in Etsy, this is just a small sampling to let you guys know that you can absolutely sell all kinds of stuff on there. It takes all sorts, and people are looking for all sorts. So having said that, if you're interested in trying Etsy, I'm going to go ahead and throw down in the comments, it's like a little code link thing, and it will get you 40 free listings on Etsy. That's kind of through my shop or whatnot, but that's just a great way if you fancy trying it and seeing if it's for you, seeing how the listing process goes, all those ins and outs there. Why not give it a go? It's totally free. Usually it's 20 cents a listing, so 40 free listings is a pretty good deal. And let me know if I can help you guys in any way. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. It's been a pleasure to share this stuff with you all. And I hope you have a great week. Give me a thumbs up, subscribe if you want to see more, and I will talk to you all soon. Bye.